a fear that will help me avoid something that will hurt me, for example, or motivate me to do something that I should do. Unhealthy fear comes from a logical way of thinking. So if I'm fear, what we call phobia. Phobia is you fear something in
excessive fear of something.
Excessive fear of something, and it is not logical to think this way. It is meaningless. So if I'm fearing flies, so this is what we call phobia, because it is illogical, and it is very tense to the extent that the person freezes or panic or whatever. Healthy fear.
It happened to me. Okay, when I was looking for something, it was a coincidence, of course, when I found some pictures on the internet when I was searching for something, and it was magnified photos of mosquitoes and cockroaches. When I saw them magnified for hundreds or thousands of times, I felt this phobia. Okay? So
that makes sense. Well,
does it make sense?
I will tell you why. Because in your theater of your mind, you saw the insect in a very terrible way, and it is magnified in your map, and that makes sense why people who fear insects, we see them as little, but they see them as ugly creatures, big and with mouths and things like this. So it is because in their head they see it in a different way. So it makes sense when you saw it in the internet magnified, it elicited this fear.
So, sir, let's talk about the different kinds of fear. You said that there are healthy fears and the unhealthy fears. First of all, let's talk about, for example, the healthy ones. When I fear a new beginning in my life, I'm starting a new career, or the different kinds of fear regarding this issue. Tell me what to do, or how to avoid the negative consequences of such a feeling.
And if it is the same, just feeling a fear, to have fears in general from tomorrow or from the future in general?
Okay. So fear is a kind of an emotion. And we say that emotions give us signals. The difference is when you are aware of the signals, this emotion will help you adjust the way you move in life, or your performance, or whatever you do. If you take the emotion as it is, fear or anger or sadness or whatever, and focus on just the emotion and not getting the message behind it, then this is not healthy. So fear is good when you think about it as a message. It moves you or pushes you to do something. So you need to be more responsible. For example, you need to take care of things. You are doing a new project. It's a new beginning.
But for some people, it turns out to be the opposite. For example, they're doing a new project. I mean, they mess and they panic. So for some people, maybe it's a motivation, and for others, it's not.
Exactly, because the ones who panic concentrated on the fear only, not the message behind the fear. So the fear is telling me to move and do things. For people who understand this, will move on. For people who will think about the emotion only and just focus on the emotion, regardless of the message, they will get to panic more, because they are aware of their own fear. Oh, I don't feel good. This means I will not do well. So this means I should stop, or so they are reflecting.
They are demotivating themselves
in a negative way. So someone else will think, okay, the fear is telling me I should do something. So maybe I should go faster. Maybe I should perform better. Maybe I should plan now because I don't want to miss things. So this is a different way.
Sir, there are primitive fears, as far as I know, from our collective subconscious, I may say. We do fear from falling from a high place, for instance, since the primitive people, the primitive man. We do have fears from fire. We do have fears from beasts, for instance. But nowadays we do have more phobias and more fears and a lot of other things. when I can differentiate between having fears or between being just a sensitive person. Me as a life coaching expert, how to differentiate if you do have somebody who needs to be treated, or this is only a sensitive person and can go on with his life.
So if the fear is from something that we as people would say this is logical to fear from fire, for example, or from a lion or whatever, this makes sense. But if I'm fearing cats or some kind of pets, and I go panic and woo, then there is something illogical here, because it doesn't make sense. It's not so.
But some people fear to death. For example, if I see a dog, I run.
And people tend to have different kind of phobias from certain pets, from dogs, from cats, or some people who have fears from high places. So,
but this is primitive. I think from the very early ages, when a man was lying on a tree, for instance, then he was all the time afraid of falling down. So this is a collective subconscious fear which was inherited from millions of years to be rooted, deeply rooted into our subconscious.
These kind of fears were in us and rooted because it protects us. So I should fear from being in a high place. So
this is a part of the healthy fear.
This is the healthy fears. But if it's not healthy, if there is protection, there is something that is not harmful, this is something that is okay, that all people tend to deal with it normally, and this is not would not be a logical way of thinking.
Okay, sir, fear is a psychological feeling. How can it turn out to be a physical? A physical problem. I think it can turn out for some people. So how
it could stop your heart?
Of course. As I told you, some people, for me, really, if I see any animal,
God forbid.
I can die. Not just by seeing, I mean by dealing with animals.
Fear is
excessive
kind of
release of adrenaline?
Excessive release of adrenaline.
So how can I avoid it? Avoid a physical problem out of a psychological feeling, which is the fear?
It starts with the brain. The first fear comes from you see something, you sense something, and then you give it a meaning.
Okay.
So the first thing is to give this the incident of seeing a dog, for example. It is just a dog.
So I'm the one who creates the problem.
Yes. So you are the meaning maker. As humans, we are meaning makers. So if you give a toxic meaning to something, it will toxify your body. It will make you neurotic or whatever. So give it a meaning that will help you face this challenge. Tell yourself it is just a dog. So people walk in the street and they are okay with the dog. Why me only thinking this way? So it is just a dog.
I mean, are there some exercises which should be done, for instance,
to be aware.
in this case? We do have a case here.
So in your mind, when you see a dog, maybe it is has to do with an incident back in your life that happened before. Maybe you saw a dog and chased you out, maybe. So it triggered you. Whenever you see a dog, subconsciously you remember what happened before.
A déjà vu?
So it becomes like a trigger, and you act upon it. So this needs a kind of therapy. We have what we call a phobia cure pattern. We use it in neuro-linguistic programming. It's a model about programming your mind just to perform at your best. Other schools, they have also some kind of therapy regarding phobia. So, but if I want to help myself, I need to tell myself it is just a dog. It won't harm me.
To make myself calm.
Yeah, yes. I can make it.
For instance, do we have to take a deep breath, for instance, just to close my eyes for a while? Would you please give us some tips?
Yes. So when mind and body affect each other. So if you breathe in and put yourself in a state of calmness physically, your mind will go the same way, and vice versa. When you think negative thoughts, your body will tend to take the position of the thought that you are thinking about. So if you want to go in a state of confidence and calm, take the position of a confidence, someone who is confident, and breathe in a confident way or a calm way, and this will tend to help you reduce the stress. So breathing in, yes, and take a deep breath.
I was lucky enough to be with Yasmin in other episodes of the Breakfast Show, and if you remember, Jessie, we had an expert in meditation. Do you think that it helps?
Of course, I think.
Is he Muhammad Isa?
Yes.
Yeah. No, he's my friend.
But the problem that here in Egypt we're not that familiar with those kinds of exercises, I think. And even for some people it turns out the people turn out to be patients and they have psychological disorders. And the beginning was a very, very tiny problem. For example, they fear dealing with people since they were children, and then they turn out to be people who are always trying to sit alone. Autism, for example, for some people it came out like that in the beginning. So how can we deal with such people and so that they can return normally to life? And here in Egypt, I think we are not familiar with the culture of dealing with such people. For us, they are crazy, for example, going to a psychiatrist.
At least psychically deviated. We should not say crazy, but psychically deviated.
So as you described, psychically deviated, as if we separate them from our lives. So how to do this is to embrace them in our lives. So we should talk to them as normal people. And this is like what you have is a challenge that we also may face. So they won't feel like segregated, different from us, and that will help in their development and recovering, because they would think, this is okay, we can recover, there is a possibility. But when we think, oh, this is a disease, oh, I'm different. So we tend sometimes to enforce the idea by just making it,
Sir,
this is something.
We cannot deny that the past 3 years were very hard.
Yeah.
And Egyptians are suffering in the streets. I mean, this political turmoil, the violence, the bombings, things like that, they do have their impacts on our psychic state, on our personalities and things like that. How we can cure ourselves or purify ourselves to be out of this atmosphere and once again to regain our, I may say, pure souls. So
there is a saying that says, energy flows where attention goes as directed by intention. So when you focus on something, you will bring more of this into your lives. So if you focus on the troubles in the street or the violence or whatever, watching TV, keeping watching the bad news, for example, and
especially before sleeping.
Before sleeping, that will make you neurotic, angry or sad, or you will go into a negative state.
And of course, not to enjoy a deep sleep.
Yes, exactly. So what we should focus on is the opposite. To live a healthy life is to focus on peace.
How to be optimistic, and all people around you are pessimistic and they are always talking about problems. So how to get such a feeling, to be optimistic about life?
So optimistic people think this way. If a bad incident is coming in their way, they think, so it is only this time, in this context, it is not about me. It is about this situation only. Whereas pessimistic people will take things personally. So
it always happens to me.
It happens to me. It is about me. I am the problem. Or this
will last. Paranoid. Paranoid is something else.
It